I caught up with Chioma Agwebu, founder Tekha. I started by asking her what she thinks we're doing correctly or otherwise with technology.
I think that the country is doing a number of things right. However, I strongly believe that the wrong steps we are taking outweigh the good steps we're taking. For instance, we are jumping on every trend without the requisite know-how, without the requisite structure, without even the requisite thinking behind it. We hear that hubs are the thing of the moment, and so government runs around, splashing money on hubs. I believe that, sometimes I believe that government wants to buy technology. You think that because you have the money, you pay for something and therefore it starts to exist. No. If I bought you a 200 gazillion, billion car and you don't know how to drive, the car will go to waste. That's exactly what's happening. The enabling environment for technology in Nigeria doesn't exist. Doesn't exist. We're still at the mercy of Google setting up, Google stations for people to have Wi-Fi. Yeah, come on. If we want to be serious, right, about enabling our people to not only use technology, to not only adapt technology, we will take government processes online. And not just do that, we will create opportunities for people to learn how to access government services online. Let's be serious. When we're ready to do this thing, we'll do it. For now, we're just, it's a nice thing to do to cut ribbon here and there,
So would you say it's a case of poor policies or simply lack of foresight or vision, if you like?
It's a bit of both, to be honest. We have, one thing I've learned recently is Nigeria has laws for pretty much everything. We can't say we are, without laws or we're without regulations, etc. No, all of these things exist. What we don't have is political will, which sounds like a bit of a cliche, but it's true. And whether we like it or not, this lack of political will, this lack of foresight, this lack of strategic planning is the bane of pretty much everything in this country, including technology. How are we raising a generation that is not only out of school, but is being trained without the exposure to tech, without the exposure to tech trends, without the exposure to the adoption and adaptation of technology to their everyday lives?
I'd like to know what school of thought you belong to. Do you think that government should be responsible for developing technology, or do you think government should create the right environment or just step aside or leave it to the private sector entirely?
I think government needs to create the enabling environment, then step away. The government is supposed to create that environment, create the needed infrastructure, ensure that that infrastructure is laid. We can't be talking fiber optic if we don't have lights. It will forever remain a thing for the rich. We can't be talking about AI when we have no data. We can't be talking about machine learning. Where is the data you're going to feed into it? When BVN is still quarreling with NIM, with NIM, even look at our PVCs. All these pockets of data, we've not put them in one place. What are we doing with technology? How do we want to, create solutions based on the needs of people? Machine learning, is it not like picking up on behaviors based on data, based on habitual occurrences, and then planning? We don't have that.
Why women in technology?
Because, to be honest, it's not only necessary, it became expedient at some point, but now it's a matter of urgency. Women, as we know, despite conversations to the contrary, are the ones that not just hold the home, but hold the workplace and hold the society. And coming back to the reason why I thought about Tekha, our theory of change is simple. If we show women the simple ways they can adapt technology to the everyday things that they do, in the same way that women translate culture and religion and everything to their children, we will reduce the number of girls we need to bring into technology in the next generation because their mothers will pass it on to them. These people are mothers, are aunties, are sisters, are wives, are women. They will pass it on naturally rather than creating an entire franchise around we're bringing girls into STEM. We're leaving out the place of a woman, and this is the community that Tekha is catering to.
So Chioma, tell us, what is your organization doing differently? Because there are a number of organizations who are also trying to bring women into technology. What are you doing differently?
We are focused on women. I remember that when I first started hearing about advocacy for girls to come into STEM, I was thinking about, I'm not a girl, right? I'm not, 10 to 15 or even 10 to 18. Okay, yes, I'm 19, right? But I'm not within, I'm not within that bracket. And so I thought about what happens to girls when they become adults, when they start to think about their careers, when they get into university. What happens to them when they leave school? How do we ensure, again, that retention question, right? How do we ensure that they stay? And for me, that was what TechCar was about. I remember that our very first event, right? Women, we asked them, what do you want to learn? And a woman said she wanted to learn MailChimp. And one of my sweetest memories of working within this space is someone I had taught to use MailChimp barely 3 weeks ago said, I can teach her, I know what it is. And for me, it's like, this is the community, this is what it's about, exchanging skills.
Chioma, you're a social enterprise, and there are obviously numerous challenges trying to run this sort of initiative. Share with us what those challenges are.
I think the biggest challenge really is one of the mind. Women just believe I can't do it. They'll tell you I'm not a young person, right? And it tells me each and every day that this is why, this group was created. This is why this community was created. I remember when, we have a WhatsApp group of women, and I remember one time I put in a few opportunities for people to apply for certain positions. And someone said, oh, I can't apply, they won't take me. And I said, how do you know that, right? How do you just by yourself exclude yourself from a potential opportunity? And she applied and she didn't get it, but someone else within that community applied and got it. And so I made sure to come back in there to say somebody else got it, meaning that the next one, you could get it. Don't just exclude yourself. And so for me, the first problem is women themselves, just because of this, the stereotypes and the beliefs that we have that sometimes we're not enough, right? There's something called imposter syndrome. We just believe we're not enough. We also believe that tech is not for us. It's a man thing. And so all of these little things are attitudes and, cultural beliefs that TechCar seeks to change. I think the second challenge that we have is access. For instance, I'm very passionate about online security, and we're now in the process of trying to reach out to schools to say, you know what, we want to come and talk to your parents, we want to come and talk to the children about online security. And maybe they're trying to deny or remain oblivious to the problem that children are using technology and there are challenges and there are dangers, or maybe it's the fact that they don't trust, but for whatever reason we haven't been able to be successful in that regard.
Now this is a question that I would say is probably the moment of truth. Women ask for opportunities in technology, but would you say that women are truly ready for those opportunities when they crop up?
I don't think the question arises, to be honest. It's not a matter of whether we are ready for these opportunities. This is a human right, right? I think the United Nations is coming to a place where it is recognizing access to the internet, right? And access to digital technologies as a human right. What we should be doing is dismantling the systems of patriarchy that see technology or the access to technology as something that should be given. This is where government comes in, creating that enabling environment, creating the space where people are completely and thoroughly and properly educated. I believe that you cannot counter inequality with inequality. And that's why in all of the advocacy that we do, I don't do this to the exclusion of men. Whether we like it or not, the knowledge of technology resides largely with the men at this point, and so we can't leave them behind. When TechCar held 8 weeks of coding classes in Abuja, it was men who taught the class, not because they weren't women, but because the space is so small, we were able to find more men who were willing to give up 8 weeks of their time to teach women for free.
Thank you for the work that you do, Chioma. I wish you all the best. I've been chatting with Chioma Agwebu, founder TechCar, who is working tirelessly to ensure that more women see technology as a tool for helping them transform their enterprises as well as improve other areas of their life. I'll be the first to admit that the tech industry does need more diversity. Therefore, the efforts of Chioma and others working in that space ought to be supported as much as possible. That's our show for today. Let's continue the conversation online. Please feel free to watch these and previous editions of the show on the channel's TV YouTube account or via cfablog.ng. For Tech Trends, I'm Chukwemeka Agbata.